Today we have an international speaker, author, MC and radio show host. He will be speaking about your speaker's roadmap to success. Our speaker has worked in 4 industries over the last 35 years and scaled a business 100 times. Please welcome the business expert, Alec Drew.
Thanks. You'd think I'd written that, wouldn't you? Have you ever had your introduction torpedoed? Have you ever seen somebody have their introduction get the Brexit conversation? You know, where you're looking, you're thinking, well, I wonder who's speaking. I thought I was on next, but who's speaking? And then you discover it's you, as your name is called out at the end of it. That doesn't need to happen, because there is a formula for it. I didn't create this formula, but I'm going to tell you who did. And I'm going to tell you the formula, but you can watch the video yourself. And it's literally just 4 lines that can work for you all. But I'm not going to talk about that at the moment. Really what I'm going to talk about over the course of the next 29 minutes and 16 seconds, which is what I've got, is 3 things. I want to share with you 3 things. Number 1 is you are so lucky. You really are. As you heard, I've been in 4 different industries over the last 35 years, and I probably add a couple of years to that. And you're so lucky because it's the first industry that I've ever been in that has people who care about you. People who genuinely care about you. They care about you being successful, and they want to help you. And how do you know that? How do you know that? Because guess what? 4 of them, Stuart Harris, Nathan Littleton, Hannah Jackson Kennedy, and Sarah Fox, took 2 years to collect 45 videos of key tips and pieces that you can use to take you on your journey and your successful journey on that roadmap to success. That's really what you've got here. And guess what I've done? I've just helped collate it. I'm going to show you something here now. So I'm going to talk about this. The second part I'm going to talk about is the power of the collective. Jackie spoke a bit about it there, thanks, and I'll come back to you because I think that was great. But the power of the collective and the information and the help that you all have here in this room that you don't realize that you actually have to help each other. And the final piece is, it's just a few minutes of a keynote that I give called Curiosity Kills Profits. I'm only going to give you a piece that's relevant to you. I'm not here to sell anything, but I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. When I saw what's called the Speaker's Hub, many of you are familiar here with the Speaker's Hub. Yeah, there's a good few of you. One of the most interesting reactions when I asked that question, at the break afterwards, somebody said to me, Alec, he said, thank you so much for reminding me about the Speaker's Hub. I was one of the contributors and I'd forgotten all about it myself. I just thought that was peachy. You've over 8 hours of video from 45 experts, well, not quite 45, because some of them have doubled up, covering nearly every aspect of the speaking business. And yet what I find strange is we're all trying to reinvent the wheel. When it's here. So what I decided to do was, I'm going to make it easy for you. So I took all the videos I had a look at, and what I did was, I broke them down into their natural order. So what you can see is the videos, who they're by, how long they are, and then you can prioritize when you watch them so that you create your own roadmap in a prioritized way. It's not rocket science. And guess what? There's one for everybody in the audience. But guess why you're not going to get one now? Anybody? Yeah, because you won't be listening to what I'm saying. You'll be fiddling around with this bloody thing. That's what'll be going on. So we're very lucky to have all of that. Now, all I've done is taken that. That's free to every member of the PSA. All of that information, that repository, no other organisation I've been a member of, and I can tell you I've been a member of Dublin Chamber for over 27 years. No other organisation I've ever come across has ever done that for its fellow members. I think you see this in terms of speakers coming here. I'm not necessarily talking about me, but you see speakers travelling from all over just to give of their time, give of their knowledge to help you on your journey. Go to Inspire. You should go to Inspire. What a great, great tribe that turned up to Inspire. And if you can avoid the alcohol, you'll enjoy it even more. I can promise you. But it's a great place to be, to meet up, to link. And when we talk about networking, and Jackie's just talked about it, people get a bit awkward about networking. They're thinking, I don't like networking. Maybe they think I'm trying to get stuff from them. They're only too happy to share with you. So don't be afraid to ask and to go there. And there's some wonderful things. That little introduction is by Jeremy Nicholas. It's a 2-minute 49 video. He's an MC. He's an international MC. He knows this business inside out. And he said, this is what I'm looking for. I don't want somebody to torpedo the speaker or torpedo me coming in by taking some bits of information off my website and trying to put it together into something funny to introduce me onto the stage. I don't want that happening to me. I don't want somebody revealing a key piece I'm going to say in my talk and they just throw it out there and the audience go, oh, right. And then you can't throw it out and make a surprise of it. Controlled it from that point of view. So really what it was about is, who are you? What are you going to talk about? What's your credibility? And then who are you? And then step on and you'll get a round of applause. And so far it's worked perfectly. So you're all guinea pigs to it. Thank you very much. So anyway, getting back to this. So as I said, it's all structured out for you. So all you have to do, there's one here for everybody in the audience. That's all you have to do, is take that, go through it, and go on to the Speakers Hub and connect in. However, when I was looking at it, I thought to myself, okay, could we add some other bits and pieces to it? And having spent, 35 plus years in business, I talk about two different aspects of business. Business is about, if you're an architect, you need to understand how architecture works and the skills, and you go to university and you do the bits and pieces around it, or a solicitor or an accountant. But there's another piece, which I call the business of the business. And that's common to every business that's out there. It's about how to sell your products, marketing. Anthony's going to talk about one of the common pieces, about sales and how to get those sales and how to generate them, how to close them. That's a skill set in itself. There we go, of somebody else who is here, who's had to travel to come here to share that. And you're not invoicing us, are you, Anthony? No, thanks very much. No, that's cool. We couldn't afford it anyway. But I've seen Anthony speak, and I know how well he delivers on that particular topic, giving freely of his time again. But what we want to do is, we want to take advantage of all of the knowledge that's here for us here today and insert it into our business and take it on. So the business of the business is about the accounts, how to work with accounts, all the simple things. Let me give you an example. Every time I come over to the UK, I discover it's bigger than I thought the last time. You have a rail network here, which is fantastic. It's the envy, I'd say, of so many places, unless you're trying to find your way around, and you'll find yourself from station to station and doing that. So part of planning, and I'm a great believer in planning, is how do you get here? So being rude and turning my back on the audience for a second, I create a sheet. So what's that sheet have? That's my flight times when I need to be there. That's the stations. Thanks very much to Richard for sending me on that. There's the stations to get there. I also know where this event is. I have a telephone number for this. I have Richard's telephone number if I need it. And you're thinking, come on, Alec, that's obvious. But it's not. The number of people fumbling around stations with their bags and looking for signs and they haven't a clue what's going on. Gormless would call it back home, but they own the planet in many occasions. The other thing too is, did you ever turn up at an event and you're going, blast it, I forgot my brochures, I forgot my business cards, I forgot something. Did you ever do that? That's okay, I'm just making sure you're alive. That's why these questions keep coming. It's not a one-man show here, Yeah, of course you do. We all do it. You're in a rush, you're going out. Again, on a separate piece, and I'm going to show you where to get that, is a checklist. It's a checklist. It's the idiot's checklist. How do I know? Because I created it for myself. And it has things like business cards, badges, props, promotional literature, and also down to, Kindles if you want to take them, various tablets that you might need, tranquilizers possibly, and then things like passports and all the bits and pieces. But all you have to do is when you're taking a trip, you could even use it for your holidays. When you're taking a trip, just download it, print it out, and just tick it. I told you it's idiot-proof. Why would you struggle to be doing things the hard way? So what we have is, I've put together 22 of those. I have to remind myself of what some of them are, but all of them are free for you. Simple approach to business strategy. Are there any accountants in the room, just out of curiosity? No, that's great. I've a spreadsheet on cash flow, which is for idiots as well. I'm not an accountant, but it works for me. You know, it really is. If I showed it to an accountant, he'd think some child had wandered in and put it together. But it's all the simple stuff that you need for business is all in a central place. And that's mentioned on the brochure here. I'm hoping to get it linked to the Speakers Hub. And what it is, it's a Dropbox that I have. And all you have to do is link to me. And the link is there to do that for you. Part of collecting that for you involved me talking with other members of the PSA, like Stuart Harris. Stuart is, most of you know Stuart, you do, Richard. I've seen you wearing skirts together.
Oh, you were doing so well.
Anyway. Stuart had sent me a link to a guy called Steve Lowell. Steve Lowell was former head of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. And I had a look at this video, which turned out to be a set of 4 videos about speaking. And I looked and I went, wow, all the stuff you never knew. You know, so for example, what type of speaker are you? What type of talks are out there? How do you know which one you are? Where do you want to be? And then how do you go about crafting the right one for you? I thought, wow, that's fantastic. Now, obviously, I need the permission of Steve to share this because I delivered this at Inspire. So anyway, I got on to Steve, and very friendly, of course, across the world, the PSA and all of its sister organizations. I got on to Steve, and I said, Steve, I saw those videos. And the first thing he went is, what videos? I'm going, those training videos for speakers. How'd you get those? Now, I didn't mention Stuart's name. He says, they're on YouTube, but I thought they were locked down. Myself and my partner had put those together. They're part of a $3,000 training course. Well, I thought I'd better download those quickly. And I said, well, I've seen them. He said, well, I can't share them, but I will put together a special one, which is an abridged version of all of that. And that's what he did. And he put that out there, and that's connected into that as well. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that sort of information and use it for your own business? So everybody gets one of those. You'll be delighted to hear. And I'll give you that. Now, also what I have is here, I'm going to pass out to you at the end too. It's a feedback sheet on how I'm performing here tonight. And of course, I get more nervous the more I look at the faces out here and think to myself, well, thanks very much. I don't have any real sterling to bribe people with. But, and I should have said this before I mentioned Richard and Stuart. Anyway, this is a feedback sheet, which I think you'll find reasonably comprehensive without being intrusive. And that's a collaboration between myself and a number of people putting that together. Now, what I'd like you to do is obviously fill it in and give it back, because the only way we get better is by getting honest feedback from the people that are here. And you've seen how safe that all is with our showcase people earlier. Nobody's out to beat you up. It's not about that. It's about helping you just move to the next level. What can you do to improve your performance? What can you do in terms of the crafting of your talk just to take you to the next level? That's all that it's about. But what I'd like you to do, if you've got phones, and if you don't, you can give me a shout, is take a photograph of it. It might be something you can use yourself and just tweak it to suit yourself. But most of it's been done for you, so why reinvent the wheel here? We have the same in terms of GDPR from Sarah Fox. We have the same in terms of your one-sheeter that you need. Everybody's busy trying to create all of these various documents for themselves. And they think, that's good. But realistically, it's done for you by people who have tried and tested it, worked it in the system, and got the response back. So why don't you do that? So let me, I'm being serenaded. Fantastic. I love it, I love it, I love it. Music, I wasn't expecting music, Richard, you're doing it. A great thing here. The second part, which I said I'd share with you and talk to you about, is the power of yourselves. You have no idea of the immense power, not just of the whole organization, but even in this room. And I just want to show you, giving you a little example of that. This is audience participation. I love this. It means that I'm not just standing here looking at blank faces and the odd smiling face. Thanks very much. What I need you to do is, I'd like you all just to stand for a minute. Just thank you very much. There we go. Oh, I can hear the yawns. I can hear them stretching. The creaking bones, they're all getting up there. When I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And on my radio show, funny enough, everybody I interview has the same particular problem. They didn't know what they want to do. So I, at my age, was put into a safe pensionable job for life, which lasted 8 years until I came screaming out of it. And then found myself wandering the world making all sorts of silly mistakes. We've all had this, but it's changed. Let me ask you this. If you've only had one career in your life, you can sit down now. Oh my goodness. If you've had 2 careers, you can sit down. 3 careers, you can sit down. 4 careers, you can sit down. One of the reasons I ask about the career, 5, and there's even more. I'll raise your 4 with another one. The reason I demonstrate that to the people in the room is, what information have you got from a previous career that is of value to the people here? Richard mentioned earlier about these one-to-one meetings and how important they are. And I couldn't agree more. We are certainly on one on all of that, Richard. How can you be recommending people to do something, to speak somewhere, to maybe go to one of your clients if you don't fully understand what they do, what they deliver, how they deliver it, and what sort of professional approach that they take to it? You'll only discover that by meeting people in a one-to-one. But also what you'll discover is they've had other careers. So if you take me, for example, the last career before the recession, and thank you, recession, I just needed that. But the last career, by the way, that recession cost me 3 million quid. So that's why I'll be walking around for a while, flogging my wares, you know. Nothing like a good recession to put the markers on life. But you have to come out of the far side and learn the lessons. I spent 25 years in branding and design. There's a skill set that's been parked. 25 years been parked. Now, who would be interested in picking up some of that knowledge to help them with their business? Anybody? Yeah, anybody? Yeah, of course. I have that skill. I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm only too happy to trade it to you or to offer it to you free. Because that's what we do. There's people here who have probably other skill sets in their previous lives. Anybody would like to shout out something you think would be of interest to the audience?
I used to be a plumber.
Good on you, Annabelle.
And I'm waiting to know, but I made more money as a plumber. I think it was a mistake.
There, you've just demonstrated. QED, that's it, you just demonstrated. You know, exactly, that's what we're talking about. You probably get loads of plumbing jobs from here now. There's loads of skills in this room. There's loads of skills within the PSA. How do you find them? You go and talk to people. You arrange that one-on-one coffee, sit down and have a chat, and then hopefully you will get the benefit of it. Now, there are about 6 different ways of getting stuff that you need for your business, really, that make it easy. Let me give you an example. Asking. Asking's always a good thing. Did you ever ask somebody to meet up for coffee because you knew they had a skill in a particular area of business and you just wanted to pick their brains? Have you ever done that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, there's a couple of rules around that. And believe it or not everybody obeys them. The simple thing is, ask politely. It's not that difficult. And business people will generally give up their time. What you say is, any chance I could meet you for a coffee, maybe for 20 minutes, don't say half an hour, about 20 minutes. I'd love to ask you a question about something that you might be able to help me with. People generally go, yeah, okay. And if they say no, there's no harm done. But generally they say yes. The reason 20 minutes is good is because, yeah, you're not taking up too much of their time. Now, you meet them in the coffee shop, wherever you're going to meet them, and you say, the first question you ask them is this: how are you for time? And they usually will say something, yeah, I've got about a half an hour. I've got about half. What you're doing is respecting their time, and they now appreciate it. And they're trying to suss you out to see if they'll give you more time or less time. They don't know yet, because they're not sure what you're going to ask them. But by asking that question, you've now got permission from them, and they'll probably give you more time. The second thing, too, is pay for the coffee. You would not believe the number of people who stiff the person with the coffee. Yeah, don't do that. Pay for the coffee. And don't be overly trying to grab stuff from them. They'll tell you as much as they want to tell you. It could be about an introduction. It could be some market intelligence on a company. It could be whatever it is. They will tell you, and don't overly push it, but they will tell you what they want to do. You'll often find yourself talking well over the half an hour if you engage with them properly. And finally, don't forget to thank them and ask them the vital question, is there anything I can do for you? That's all you have to do. Certainly, probably not, but at least you've asked. Why not ask the question? The second thing is mastermind groups. Many people here are members of a mastermind group. Well, so I needn't speak too much about that. Great value. For those of you not familiar with mastermind groups, in a couple of seconds is a group of people coming together. Don't have to be speakers. You could be the butcher, the baker, the plumber, the candlestick maker. And you just come together for a mutual meeting every month. There's an agenda. And by the way, on the Speakers Hub, there's Andy Lapata has put together how to set up a mastermind group. So you don't even have to invent that. It's done for you. And really what it will is, you're all lonely people, I'm sorry to say. You know, I'm a lonely person. Now, you're all lonely. You're called solopreneurs, really. That's where most of you are. And it's a sad place to be. Because you get down, you know, that contract that was coming in that didn't come in, and things are just not going right. You need a little lift. You need people around you to lift you up. That's what it is. It's kind of a lonely hearts for business. Yeah. So that's what it is. But they'll set tasks for you too, and you set tasks for others, and all boats rise with that tide. So why don't you do that? Mentoring. Find somebody who you've seen, who maybe you think is the right person to help you out. Find somebody to help you mentor, bring you to another level. Roger Harrop helped me. I hope you're proud, Roger. You know, you're going to see the videos. But Roger did, and very, very kindly gave this time. Now, Roger, you know, is an internationally renowned speaker. And I must say, I was so privileged that he was prepared to devote so much of his time to helping me. I hope you see the results of it. I said, I hope you see the results. No, he was. Gave so much of it. The next important one, in which I was talking about the plumbing, I was talking about the bits and pieces, was bartering. Now, there's probably too many young people don't know what bartering is, but bartering was the way life was in the great old days, you know, about 6 centuries ago. When you had no money and you needed something, you traded something for it. Why don't you trade something? Let me give you an example. I'm looking for somebody to help me with my social media. So that's Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I need an expert around me to help. But I don't pay for it. I will pay for it, though, in terms of my knowledge around branding and design. And I can save you a fortune and get you to the right place in that. So if somebody wants that, that's what I will trade out. There's other things that you want. Why don't you find somebody that can trade it? So, for example, there's an organization I help out, and they give me free membership, which is worth about $6,000 a year. So that's my barter for them. And my accountants do my accountants free of charge, because that's bartering with them. So look for those trades, because we're all trying to bootstrap our businesses. We don't have a lot of money to spend. We're not all that successful like Anthony there, who probably came in his Rolls Royce and will breeze out again, you know. We're not all that. There are different ways of doing it. So why don't you do that? The other thing too is you can pay for it. And let me suggest, there's a guy called Rolf DeBelly, The Art of Creative Thinking. You should look at this book. It's only a very thin book, but you can kind of open pages, and it just makes sense about what he says. And let me just tell you this, the mistakes so many business people make. They try to do stuff. A, they're no good at. B, they've no skill at. And C, waste an inordinate amount of time doing. That's a bit like me on social media, really. I had to kind of give it up. But I see it around design. One of the greatest things we discovered about design was that everybody is a designer in their own mind. That's what we discovered. No skills, but they're a designer in their own mind. You need those skills. Don't try to do them yourself. Rolf DeBelly talks about, he calls it the birdhouse thing, where an international fashion photographer who earns 500 quid an hour is asked by his local bird sanctuary, will you come down on Saturday morning, join some of the lads, and we'll put together some birdhouses. Do you think, by the way, do you think he should do it? Think he should do it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. No, he shouldn't. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. A, he's probably a crap carpenter. B, how many birdhouses is he going to make? Wouldn't he be better spending those 4 hours shooting, 500 quid, 2,000 quid. How many birdhouses would you get made for 2,000 quid with a real carpenter who charges 50 quid an hour? So let's not waste our skill and our time. Let's do what you're good at doing and bone up on that, but bring in the ancillary services to do what you need. So that's about paying for it as well. What else is there? There's nothing else around that I'm going to talk about because I see I'm conscious of time. I want to talk about any Trekkies here, any Star Trekkie people here. Hey, good, oh, good. My generation. I want to talk to you about Star Trek Next Generation. For those of you who are not familiar with Star Trek, is one of the best science fiction series ever made. Captain Luke Picard, you probably like him, yeah, it was cool. And on one of those, thank you. On one of those, let me take it back. So I'm not a geek or a freak about these things, but I think it's relevant. There was one particular episode resonated with me, and it's called The Game. It's Series 5, Episode 6. And in it, about a half dozen members of the Starship Enterprise go down onto this planet, meet some aliens, and they're given a handheld game. And they're transfixed by it. They're suddenly looking at it and they're transfixed by it. And they bring it up to the ship. And before you know it, the ship crew are looking at it, the hundreds of people on the ship going, well, that looks interesting, I wouldn't mind trying that. So they used a replicator. We probably call it 3D printing now. But they used a replicator to make them. And before you know it, everybody in the ship is doing this. Does that look familiar to you? This is what's happening in business today. I speak to businesses around Curiosity Kills Profits. It's about using hidden resources that are within your own organization and how technology is really, we talk about disrupting, but it's not disrupting business in the right way, it's disrupting it in the wrong way. And I just want to give you one example of what I'm talking about here. Actually, you identified it very well, Clinton, in terms of what you were saying about lack of respect and how that worked. People have no awareness around them of what they're doing. In the old days, I can talk about the old days because I'm old enough to remember them. In the old days, what happened is you went into an office, let's say you had an appointment to meet somebody, as you were talking about in your story, and there's a receptionist there. It was quite common to engage the receptionist, have a chat with them. You'd be surprised how much information you pick up about the firm, but particularly if you've got the right receptionist, the right person there. They can tell you more about that firm than you'd ever research. Hey, oh gosh, watch him. Well, you probably saw it yourself. You got the feedback straight away. So, but you used to engage with them. Start engaging with people. Everybody now has got their head down into one of these portable devices. Unless you're a heart surgeon on standby, there is nothing going to come on that phone that's of vital value to the rest of humanity. So turn it off and put it away. I went into an organization, just to give you a demonstration of the power of this. I went into an organization where their professional services, they research and write up serious documents and papers. And I was watching there, and I'd been brought in on staff engagement, just we were talking about how staff are engaging. And I saw the managing director, and I saw him go over to a desk, and he went over and he went, Jez, he said, could I see you for a minute? And I saw Jez kind of going, oh. Anyway, he got up and he went off. And he wasn't gone for a minute, he was gone for about 20 minutes. And Jez comes back, and I could see him just throwing the pen on the desk, and it was really, he wasn't happy. And then he went over here somewhere else, and he said, Maxine, could I see you for a few minutes? And Maxine, we got the same repeated thing. Oh, no. And she went off and she came back. And I watched this over the course of a couple of days. And I met with these people and I said, what's happening? She said, he gets an idea. Can't wait, he gets an idea, and he has to talk about it now. And he takes us away after the middle of a project. And then when you come back, you're gone out of it. And now you have to immerse yourself back in. Now, there's all sorts of stats from Udemy out there about distraction in the workplace, and this is one of the key ones. So I jotted down some notes. And I said to him, I said, I have a bit of news for you, because he's trying to get more profits into the company. I said, if you invest €3.50, I'll get you a return of 100,000 euros. And he went, what? What am I going to buy? I said, you're going to buy something, but you're also going to have a change of behavior. What you're going to buy are post-it pads. And what you're going to write on it is, when you're finished doing what you are doing, will you call up to my office, please? And instead of grabbing somebody out of a desk, just go past and stick it on their desk. That's worth 100,000 a year to you. And here's the maths to back it up. Now, these are the hidden resources that are within every company. You'll see it also, and I'll finish on this note very quickly, the same at meetings, internal meetings, and the same thing about the phone, where people would have been sitting around, engaging with one another, having a chat and saying, oh yeah, I'm having a problem on this, and Anthony might say, well, hey Alec, I can help you with that. Hey, we'll have a chat after the meeting. And there's a proper team bonding session going on. Now everybody's just engaged looking down at the phone. Listen, don't look down, look up, and just be careful because curiosity does kill profits. And don't forget your speaker's roadmap to success. Thank you very much.